Evolution of Rosetta. Tinkerbell, 2008. Rosetta appears voiced by Kristin Chenoweth. When Tink decides to switch her talent, something that has never been done before, Rosetta, a garden fairy, at first agrees to teach her how to garden, but later changes her mind after seeing Tinkerbell fix a music box. Tinkerbell and the Lost Treasure, 2009. Rosetta plays a smaller role in the animated movie. She is first seen with other garden fairies. Later on, Rosetta is taking a flight with Iridessa and Silvermist when Tinkerbell appears and asks for their doses of pixie dust. Unfortunately for Tink, Rosetta and the others need their pixie dust to travel to the mainland. Rosetta is lastly seen during the end when the fairies celebrate the arrival of the blue harvest moon. Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue, 2010. In this movie, Rosetta develops a fussier, mud-hating personality that defines the character in the upcoming animation work. Rosetta first appears, flying to the mainland to attend fairy camp with Tink, Silvermist, Iridessa, and Fawn. After a while, Vidya reveals the presence of humans to Tink in an attempt to keep her away. Tink becomes infatuated, but Iridessa and Rosetta try to explain that humans are dangerous. Later on, Rosetta and the others learn that Tinkerbell has been captured by a human girl named Lizzie. Vidya then leads an expedition to rescue her. Along the way, the fairies are forced to cross a muddy river. While the river is not too deep, Rosetta is hesitant to cross, revealing her fear of mud, while revealing the irony as she's a garden fairy. Eventually, the adventure leads them to Lizzie's house, but Vidya is captured by Lizzie's father and taken to London for research. Rosetta and the others go after them, granting pixie dust on Lizzie so they can fly to her father, as they cannot fly in the rain. When they finally do approach Lizzie's father, the young girl convinces her father to rethink his actions. Vidya is freed and the fairies have a picnic with Lizzie and her father to celebrate. The Pixie Hollow Games, 2011. Rosetta appears voiced by Hilty. She is the main protagonist of the movie. Rosetta is busy helping to set up flowers for the big night when she meets a new garden fairy named Chloe. Chloe announces that she has been training for the Pixie Hollow Games and is excited to be competing. When the time comes for the team selection, Chloe has already volunteered and Rosetta is selected to be her partner. On the night of the games, Rosetta shows up in a beautiful dress, wanting to look good despite looking bad, certain that she and Chloe will be eliminated after one round. The first event is leapfrogging. Rosetta refuses to get onto the frog but finally does when the spectators yell and protest, leading to total chaos on the racetrack. Throughout the next challenges, the garden fairies usually get through, but when it comes to a slide of slug slime, Rosetta's fear of getting dirty gets the best of her, knocking her team to the final place. At the final competition, Rosetta decides to brush her fear of dirt off, and the team successfully wins the games, finally breaking the losing streak. Secret of the Wings, 2012. On an ordinary day, Rosetta is blooming flowers, while Tinkerbell and Fawn are helping animals cross the border to the winter woods. Later on, after Tinkerbell crossed the border and froze her wings, Rosetta, Iridessa, and Silvermist rush to the doctor to pick up Tink. Tink then decides to tell her friends that her wings began to glow after she crossed. However, Rosetta finds the claims to be eccentric and fears that Tink needs to be examined by the healing fairies again. Even so, Tinkerbell crosses once more and meets her sister Periwinkle. To have Periwinkle visit the warm regions of Pixie Hollow, Tink plans on creating a snowmaking machine. Clank gathers Rosetta and the others to begin work on said machine. The next day, Tink's friends begin Operation Periwinkle, where they showcase their unique talents for the Frost Fairy. Rosetta blossoms an entire flower field for the first fairy and gives her a periwinkle flower as a gift. Periwinkle then preserves the flower in a frost blanket to not die when she travels back to the winter woods. Periwinkle suddenly becomes weak, and her wings begin to decay. Rosetta and the others rush her across the border, and the ruler of the winter woods, Lord Mallory, forbids Tink and Perry from seeing one another again. Overnight, the snowmaker machine began to freeze parts of Pixie Hollow, thus throwing off the seasons. Rosetta and the others evacuate to the pixie dust tree as a shelter. However, the pixie dust tree is also in danger of being destroyed, but Tink thinks of a way to save it. If Perry and the Frost Fairies can preserve the tree, like she did the flower, Pixie Hollow would be saved. While Rosetta and the others take cover inside one of the pixie dust tree's hollows, Perry and the others preserve it. Pixie Hollow Bake Off, 2013. Gelada is the main of a group of baking fairies that always makes exactly the same cake for Queen Clarion's arrival day party for the last 399 years. Once upon a time, Tink challenges Gelada to see who can bake the best cake for the Queen's party. Rosetta, together with Tinkerbell and their friends fairies, the non-baking fairies, compete against the baking fairies. In the end, Tink's cake looks very appealing, but finds out looks aren't everything. The Pirate Fairy, 2014. Rosetta appears, where she and her friends magically switch talents. Rosetta becomes an animal fairy, much to her dismay, and becomes the mother of a baby crocodile. Worse, Fawn, who became a light fairy, accidentally fires the part of her hair off, though Rosetta is unaware of this until the end. Tinkerbell and the Legend of the NeverBeast, 2014. Rosetta appears along with the other fairies, where they help the compassionate fairy Fawn protect the mythical, legendary NeverBeast from harm.